The following program was pre-recorded, so our phone lines are not open.
More Christians are asking whether their financial lives reflect their deepest convictions. Hi, I'm Rob West. That question often shapes how we give, spend, and invest, but increasingly, believers are asking it about where they bank as well. Today, Aaron Caid joins us to explain how everyday banking can reflect our values and even support kingdom work. Then we have some great calls lined up, but please don't call in today because we're pre-recorded. This is Faith and Finance Live, biblical wisdom for your financial journey. Well, Aaron Caid joins us today from Adelphi Christian Banking, a valued underwriter of this program. Adelphi Christian Banking was formed through the merger of Christian Community Credit Union and Adelphi, uniting a shared commitment to serving believers, churches, and ministries with financial services rooted in biblical values. Aaron, great to have you back with us.
Oh, it's great to be back, Rob.
And congratulations on the merger. I know the new website has launched at adelphibanking.com. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, it was a big step, and we're really excited about it too. And we've, rebranded the merged credit union as Adelphi Christian Banking as of last week.
Incredible. Aaron, why is banking becoming a more intentional decision for Christians who want their financial lives to reflect their faith?
Well, Rob, we're seeing believers become much more intentional, not only about how they incorporate their values into how they spend, but how they invest and how they manage their money. So it's natural for them to start asking thoughtful questions about where they bank and how their bank uses their money, too. We see many Christians realizing that how they bank and with whom they bank can become another practical way to honor God through their everyday financial decisions.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes Adelphi distinct is its clear Christian mission. How does that mission, Aaron, shape the way you serve members and churches, even ministries?
Well, Rob, Adelphi was founded specifically to serve Christian families, Christian businesses, churches, and ministries. So it's at the root of why we came into existence. Our Christian mission shapes how we approach stewardship, our member relationships, and the long-term impact that those relationships can have. Believers can prioritize their values and honor God, not just in how they spend money, but where they keep it. And with Adelphi, they can rest assured that their deposits are being put to use to grow God's kingdom. So, for example, over the years, Adelphi has helped fund more than $1 billion in loans to churches and Christian ministries.
Incredible. And you've said that where we bank can have an impact beyond even our own accounts, that it can support churches and ministries. How does that work?
Well, yes, it's true, Rob. Member deposits help provide affordable financing for churches, ministries, and Christian organizations. And the great thing is our members get to participate in that mission through their everyday banking. So even simple things like using a debit card or a credit card can help support Christian causes. Transactions become transformational. And through our card programs alone, almost $7 million has been donated to Christian ministries and missions.
Incredible. Aaron, I want to go a step further. How do you see the desire for community and shared values shaping the way Christians think about where they bank?
Well, Adelphi's focus is on serving Christians and Christian ministries. So that creates a really nice shared sense of purpose and trust, not just among our members, but within the larger Christian community. And our members know that Adelphi understands their worldview and their stewardship priorities. So it becomes a partnership that focuses on generosity, ministry support, and eternal kingdom impact.
That's well said. For someone listening today, Aaron, who's never really connected their faith with where they bank, what would you leave them with?
Well, I would say start by thinking intentionally about whether your financial decisions truly reflect your faith and values. As Christians, we have an opportunity to approach every area of our finances, including banking, with biblical stewardship in mind. And again, the goal is not perfection, but to be faithful to God with what He has entrusted to us.
Wow, what a helpful reminder that every financial decision, including where we bank, is an opportunity to honor God with what He has entrusted to us. Aaron, thanks for stopping by today.
It's always a pleasure, Rob.
That's Aaron Caid of Adelphi Christian Banking. As our recommended banking partner, Adelphi offers a practical way to integrate your faith and financial decisions for the glory of God. And right now, one example is their high-yield money market account, which earns an exceptional rate of 4% for 12 months on up to $100,000. To learn more, go to faithfi.com/banking and enter the code FAITHFI. That's faithfi.com/banking, code FAITHFI. As we head to the break, let me remind you quickly, we're not here today. We're away from the studio, so don't call in, but we have some great questions that you're really going to enjoy as we continue to apply God's wisdom to your financial decisions. We'll be right back. So glad to have you with us today on Faith and Finance Live. Our team is away today, so don't call in, but we lined up some great questions in advance, and we'll be going to those here in just a moment. Let me also remind you that the advice that I give each day on this program is general in nature. We offer principles and ideas that apply at a high level. They are not personalized, so that's why you should always seek professional financial advice. And if you'd like to find a professional who shares your values, we, of course, here at Faith and Finance Live recommend the Certified Kingdom Advisor designation. These are men and women who've met high standards, and they've been trained to bring a biblical worldview of financial decision-making. You can find one at faithfi.com. All right, let's head to the phones. We'll head out to Ohio and welcome Aaron to the broadcast. Go ahead, sir.
Thanks for taking my call. So I have a sole proprietor LLC, and I was wanting to set up another LLC. And you go online, and there's so many people that want to tell you how to set it up. You should have a holding company. You should have a trust above the holding company. There's so many different options out there. I didn't know what you would recommend, how I should go about structuring something like that.
Yeah. What I would do is visit with a godly attorney who can just look at your situation. I'm not trying to put the question off, but I do think you need to understand what are your objectives in terms of protecting yourself from a liability standpoint, as well as the tax structure of the corporation to make sure that you have the structure that's right for you. I like the idea of an LLC. It's basically going to protect the assets of its owner from lawsuits and creditors concerned with the company's business debt. So it's kind of combining the characteristics of a corporation with those of a partnership or sole proprietorship. So while the limited liability feature is similar to that of a corporation, the availability of the pass-through taxation to the members of the LLC is a feature of a partnership or a sole proprietorship rather than the LLC. And so you've got kind of this dual function going on here, or this combination of characteristics. And I think, that offers you some tax benefits because you could pay yourself, a salary out of it. You could take distributions. Everything passes through to you personally, but you've got this protection that's typically, afforded through a corporation. So the big idea of it makes a lot of sense. I think the question is getting the right structure, getting that formed legally, and then making sure you maintain that in terms of, the annual requirements and filings. So, you're up to date, and then having a good set of books that's separate from your personal finances so you can document business expenses and, be in good standing before the IRS. All of that is really key. And I think getting some professional counsel to help you with that is the best way to go. If you don't have anybody, Aaron, you could reach out to a Certified Kingdom Advisor there in Ohio and ask for referrals to either CPAs or attorneys that could help you put all of this in place. But hopefully that at least gives you a few things to think about.
Yeah, you don't really have anybody that you could recommend me to, or would I just have to kind of figure that out myself?
Yeah, what I would do is reach out to a Certified Kingdom Advisor there in Ohio. So, anybody who has the designation on our website at faithfi.com could be able to refer you to a godly CPA and or attorney. And so that would be the place that I would go. I really don't have a national resource for you, and you do want somebody locally anyway. So that would be my next step. We appreciate your call, though, sir. God bless you in your business endeavors. Thanks for being on the program. Let's go to Florida. Eric, how can I help you?
My concern is credit repair. So I'm just trying to get some advice on credit repair.
Yeah, very good. Well, here's the thing, Eric. As we think about this topic, the good news is credit can improve at any age. So, somebody in their early 60s, and I see that on the screen here that you're 62, working full time. The focus really should be probably less on chasing a perfect score and more on what can I do to systematically improve that score over time. Usually that comes, in the form of focusing on the big factors that help credit, and they're pretty simple. Number one, pay every bill on time. Number two, lower credit card balances, because one of the key drivers of your credit score, which will over time repair your credit, is what's called credit utilization. And that's just a fancy term for what percent of the balance or what percent of the limit is the balance you're carrying. So if you have a $10,000 limit and you're carrying more than $3,000 month to month, that's going to start to pull your credit score down. You want to be between 10 and 30%. Ideally, we wouldn't be carrying anything, but even if you pay it off every month, if you do it after the end of the cycle, it's still going to be reported to the Bureau that, your balance is over that 30% threshold. So pay every bill on time, lower credit card balances, avoid opening too many new accounts because every new account you open requires an inquiry into your credit. That's built into the formula, and it will pull it down temporarily. And then 4, keep older accounts open if possible, because that history, that longevity of you having old credit relationships, especially ones that are in good standing, that's going to drive toward a better credit score over time. So I think beyond that, I would also be pulling your 3 credit reports regularly, looking for errors or old issues that need to be disputed. But ultimately, it's not about a magic program. Anybody who's, quote, selling credit repair services, I'd be cautious about. Really, the most legitimate improvement comes from what you do on your own through time, consistency, and reducing debt, not costly programs. But let me stop there and get any follow-up questions you have.
Okay, so what about paying collections off?
Yeah. So it's important that you get those paid down to zero over time, whether that comes through you paying in full through maybe a payment plan or what's called a settlement. And it might be noted on the credit file that it was settled. But the key idea is, yes, those collections and those late payments are black marks. They are going to pull that score down. But as they become more and more distant and they're further into the past, they're going to affect you less. And the key is getting that reported balance on an account that was at one point in collections down to zero. And so the way to do that is to negotiate a settlement by getting on a payment plan. You can even ask for a pay to delete agreement. Not all collectors will do that, but that would be where they agree in writing that if you pay it in full, they're going to delete it. But typically, collections are going to stay on your credit report for about 7 years from the original delinquency date. And again, newer collections hurt more than older ones, so time will help, but also getting it down, to zero so it was either paid for or settled in full.
Yeah, so look for the deletion letter.
That's right.
That'll even if you settle, that'll get the report knocked off your credit, right?
That's right. Now, they may not be willing to do that. In many cases, they're not, and then you're just going to have to wait for the 7 years for it to fall off. But remember, as it becomes older, it's going to impact you less. Now, the other thing to remember is, and this is important, paying a collection doesn't always instantly raise the score, but lenders often prefer seeing paid rather than unpaid. And again, your best defense, if you can't get it deleted, is time. You just want that to be in the past, and you want all of your new credit relationships to reflect that you're an on-time payer. Hope that helps, Eric. Thanks for your call. It's a great question. Hey, folks, we're going to pause now for a brief break, but we'll be back with much more on today's Faith and Finance Live.
You're listening to Faith and Finance Live, and you can find us online at faithfi.com. However, today we are not live, so if you hear that phone number, please don't call. But do stay with us. There's lots of good information ahead.
You know, our goal in this program every day is for you to see God as your ultimate treasure, to see money as a tool, to recognize your role as that of steward, not owner, to understand that God's Word has a lot to say on this issue of money. 15% of everything in God's Word connects back to money and possessions, and it's not because I'm convinced God wants something from us. No, it all belongs to Him anyway. It's because God wants something for us, and money is a competitor to our hearts. If we're going to have something get in the way to complete devotion to God, in my view, especially here in the most prosperous nation in the history of the world, it's most often going to be money and the empty promises money will tell us, that it will provide security and significance and ultimately peace of mind, that our self-worth is found in our net worth, and that we have to keep up with those around us that are living a lifestyle, perhaps projecting a lifestyle they can't even afford, the best version of their life, and we're chasing that. No, we instead want you to see money as a tool, to have a healthy relationship with money, living within your means, avoiding debt, giving generously to your church, helping the people on your path, and having money be a tool to promote human flourishing, to advance the common good, to enjoy, and to provide. That's our goal here on this program each day. Let's go to Tennessee. Mary, how can I help you?
Yes, I was calling to see what I could do to navigate getting out of debt as far as things that may have fallen off my credit report, and also how to navigate doing things ethically and with integrity as far as getting out of debt. Because I heard, for example, that you can work with the creditors to maybe reduce the amounts, but I think with me I would probably want to pay in full what was owed.
Yeah, great questions. So let's start with that first part. When you talk about things that have fallen off your credit, are you saying you had balances that were never paid, but because of the age of the account, they've fallen off, but you still want to pay them, or something else?
That is correct. So trying to figure out how to navigate that, because I'm trying to clear up 30 years of wreckage, as it were, when I didn't know how to manage things of that sort and didn't even know such a thing existed.
Okay, got it. Yeah. It's not going to be easy because they probably charged them off. And so if you want to repay old debts out of personal conviction, and I love that, even after they've fallen off, it's really, an issue that you're going to have to work and put some effort into. The first step is to verify the debt carefully. So after the kind of history you're talking about, 20 or 30 years, records may be incomplete, debts may have been sold many times as they were, bounced around through multiple credit collection agencies. The balances may be inaccurate. Companies may no longer exist that once owned these. So before paying anything, you're going to want to ask for validation so you can confirm who legally owns the debt and make sure it's legitimate. And the challenge is that with the credit file, the credit report, often that's where we can, try to chase down who currently owns the debt. But to your point, because of the age of some of these, they're not even being reflected there. So I think you need to, you're going to need to put some legwork in to see if you can chase down who is the actual owner of the debt. Can you get it verified in writing? And only then would I consider paying it off. And that may not be easy to do. So I think that's the first step. The second piece was around settlements. Is that right?
Yes, I was wanting to know how to handle that with integrity as far as paying the amount that is due.
Yeah. So I think that's ultimately a conviction matter. Many people, consider paying a negotiated settlement where the creditor is willing to take less acceptable, especially because, the person is making a sincere effort to repay something and they can't realistically pay the full amount. And so it's a mutually agreed resolution. The company's happy to take it. They've charged probably a lot of interest and a lot of fees. And if they know somebody's in a hardship situation and they're willing to accept less than the full balance in exchange for resolving the debt, that avoids further collection costs on their part. They get payment now. Everybody's happy. Now, in other cases, especially where somebody has the ability to pay in full, some people like yourself feel convicted to repay every dollar if they're able to. And, I think that really is a personal conviction matter. And if you feel compelled that, the Lord's leading me, that I need to repay what I owe and all the interest and fees added to it over time, which could be substantial, I think that's ultimately between you and the Lord and the creditor. And you may choose to settle this by not taking a reduced settlement, even if the creditor is willing, and that's ultimately your call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mary, Lord bless you. Thanks for calling today. We appreciate you being on the program. 800-525-7000 is the number to call. Let's head to Texas. Ron, go ahead.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call. My question is, I'm a sole proprietor. I've been working 47 years, and I'm still intending to until the Lord shows me otherwise. But my concern is, how do I balance giving to the family members, people that are in need, and I'm always ready and available to do that. But some have a problem with work, and they don't. And so now when emergency hits, they come and they have these needs, and they give me this number that they need, and it's usually huge. And I try to do what's proper in my soul, but I just need to know, in your opinion, how do you balance? Where do you draw the line in this? Am I enabling, or am I really gifting as the Lord wants me to?
Yeah. Wow. That's a tough one, Ron, and it's where the rubber meets the road, and it's where a lot of discernment comes in. And I think it starts with a recognition that you are the steward. And so this doesn't belong to you. You're not deciding how much money of yours to give them. You're deciding how much of God's money that He's asked you to manage that you're to give them, which seems like a nuance, but it really does change the conversation a bit. It changes the approach because you're acting on behalf of the King of Kings. And I love the idea that you want to help your family. That's very generous, but the extent to which you're doing it in ways that enable idleness or threaten your own stability, I don't think is biblical stewardship. So let's do this. I've got to take a break. When we come back, I'll share a few more thoughts and perhaps we can find a path forward, because I really appreciate your heart behind this question. Back with more after this. Stay with us.
This is Faith and Finance Live with Rob West. Hey, if you hear a phone number mentioned today, please ignore that number and don't call us, because today's broadcast was previously recorded. But we think the upcoming information will help you and make you a wise steward of what God's given you. So please, stay tuned.
Before the break, we were talking to Ron in Texas. I love his question. He's 74, working full-time, self-employed. He's saved for 30 years. His family consistently comes to him for money. He's happy to help. He wants to be generous. And yet, he's wondering how he should deal with family members in particular who don't want to work, but still want the money. And the tension is real here. It's one of the hardest parts of parenting adult children, and that is knowing when to step back. Over time, we need to wrestle with, are we helping a child move forward or delaying lessons they need to learn? Are we offering support or carrying responsibilities that now belong to them? And I think the idea here is that healthy support should encourage progress, not prolong immaturity. And that's an act of stewardship, not only of your resources, but of their formation. And the goal is not to eliminate every hardship, because often what we recognize is that maturity takes root in the soil of challenge, of struggle. And so we want to think through that, pray through that, ask for wisdom, James 1:5, as we discern how to proceed. And so I think perhaps a framework for this, Ron, given that idea, is that we start by deciding in advance, what can I afford to give, if anything? After taxes and business expenses and retirement needs and emergency savings, maybe you create a monthly giving category, maybe even one for family help, and when it's gone, it's gone. And then the second is set those loving boundaries. I care about you, but I'm not able to keep giving money. I can help you make a budget. I can help you look for work. I can connect you with local resources. That keeps the door open to support without becoming the source of ongoing dependence. because I think Scripture encourages both compassion and responsibility in these cases. You remember 2 Thessalonians 3:10, if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. And then 1 Timothy 5:8, it also reminds us to care for our own household wisely. So we've got to balance the tension between these two things. The stewardship God has asked you to exercise, the ultimate formation and what's happening in your adult child's life or family member's life who's not willing to work hard as unto the Lord, which clearly is part of God's admonition. And thirdly, are you prolonging dependence on you and others rather than the maturing process that needs to occur there? And at the end of the day, there's not a right or wrong answer. It really is a discernment idea for you. Does that make sense, though?
Yes, sir. Very much so.
Okay. Well, the last thing I'll say is maybe you look to tie the support to clear next steps. Maybe it's progress toward employment or, pursuing education or training or contributing to household responsibilities when it's an adult child living at home or, working toward specific financial goals or matching the payoff of debt. In some cases, it's just completely abstaining and just saying, listen, I've given, but I feel like your next step is really to get out there and get that employment and, just lovingly decline further assistance, knowing in your heart that may be the very best thing you can do to put them back into a mode of taking personal responsibility and ultimately dependence on the Lord. Let me do this. We have a great article in the latest issue of our magazine, Faithful Steward. It's on this exact topic, supporting adult children. I'm going to send it to you as our gift. And so if you stay on the line, we'll send you issue 5, the current issue of our Faithful Steward magazine. I think you'll enjoy it, but this article will specifically address this issue you're raising. And Ron, we're grateful for your call today. Stay on the line. Our team will get your information and we'll get it right out to you. Let's go to Ohio. Dan, how can I help you?
Yes, I have a question on CDs. I've got 2 grandchildren. One's 17 and a half, and the other one is 16. They inherited some money from another relative, and their mother had put the money in a couple of CDs. It's only like $10,000. Those CDs are coming due this June, and there's a 10-day grace period where you can do something with it. My question is, should we allow it to roll over for another 2 years? It's getting like 4% interest.
Yeah, very good. When we're dealing with a question like this, it always starts with what is the purpose of the money? And so if the money is going to be needed soon for college or trade school or a vehicle or early adult expenses, then keeping it safe and liquid makes a lot of sense. Rolling it into another short-term CD is reasonable if the rates are still attractive, and I would say north of 4% they are, and preserving principal is the priority. But because they're young and have time on their side, this also may be a moment to think longer term where, you could actually put this to work, in an investment. But it's all going to come down to the purpose of the money, which is going to drive the time horizon and the risk level that we're able to take. So give me a little bit more on how you see this money being used in the future.
Well, I believe that they will be set themselves, for school, trade school. The money's not needed. I just wondering whether there's a better investment to make more money for them or allow them to get closer to 21 before they have access to it. I don't want them to have it now, obviously.
Yeah. Is it in a custodial account? Is it titled with them?
Yes, it's titled to the child and to their mother.
Okay, got it.
Which is my daughter.
Yes, got it. Yeah, so I think that's key. If they don't need the money soon and it's already in custodial accounts until age 21, it really becomes more of a long-term growth decision. And again, at 16 and 17, they have something incredibly valuable, and that is time. So locking everything back into short-term CDs may be very safe, but it's going to limit long-term growth potential. So a balanced approach could be to keep some safe if desired, but consider gradually moving part of it into diversified investments for longer-term growth. Because even relatively modest amounts invested young can compound significantly over time. Now, at the age of majority, and sounds like it's 21 here, they're going to be able to do what they want with it, including liquidating whatever investments you have and spending it however they wish. And, that's just the reality with a custodial account. But perhaps you getting it invested might encourage them to leave it alone. So I'd probably think about opening maybe a robo-advisor account, either Fidelity Go or the Schwab Intelligent portfolios, and see if you could open a custodial account, move the money over, get it invested in some low-cost index funds with a bias toward stocks, less about bonds, and just let it grow, forget about it, and then let them revisit this in, 5 or 8 years when they need the money, or perhaps leave it right there. Stay on the line, Dan. We'll talk a bit more. All right, we're going to head to a break, so don't go anywhere. Still a lot more to come. Even though we're away from the studio today and you shouldn't call in, we have some great questions that you're really going to enjoy as we continue to apply God's wisdom to your financial decisions. We'll be right back. We're so glad you've joined us for Faith and Finance Live today. Here in our final segment, let me remind you not to call in because we're not live today, but we'd love for you to stick around and enjoy the rest of the program. Hey, let me mention, we're reaching millions of Christians with this important message of faithful financial stewardship. In fact, God is just continuing to expand our borders. We got word just this week about just a massive increase in the number of people we're going to be able to reach through terrestrial radio and digital resources. We're also producing more print resources than ever, a new devotional in the works that I'll tell you about in the coming weeks. Really excited about it. Our new field guides. We've got some new studies on the horizon. The FaithFi app, just some really great tools coming there as this becomes your stewardship companion in your pocket, on your phone, helping you think about your faith and your money management on a daily basis. But none of that happens without our FaithFi partners. And so I want to invite you, if you love the program, maybe you've found something helpful in your life, if you'd consider becoming a partner, we'd certainly be grateful. Partners come alongside us at $35 a month or more, or $400 a year. And they're a key part of funding this ministry so we can reach God's people to equip faithful stewards and shape eternal impact. And as a thank you to you, as a partner, we'll send you every issue of our magazine, Faithful Steward, 4 times a year, each of our studies and devotionals as they come out, our field guides mailed to you. You get pro access to the FaithFi app and a quarterly ministry update from me. And so if you'd like to consider becoming a FaithFi partner, we'd be grateful. Just go to faithfi.com/give. That's faithfi.com/give. All right, back to the phones we go. Let's head to Ohio. Sharon, go ahead.
I'd like to, first of all, thank you because several months back I called and asked a question, and your answer enabled me to give appreciated stock to preborn, and I was able to buy an ultrasound machine.
Oh, that's amazing, Sharon.
Yeah, I couldn't give the cash because I would have to sell stock to do it, and it would have been increased my income to such a level that I would have triggered, the Part B increased IRMA
the
cost.
IRMA,
And it would have
sure.
cost me. It would have cost me $6,000 to give that.
Wow.
But by your information, you enabled me to give. I had a misunderstanding and thought I had to wait until I was 70 and a half to give it out of my 401k as a QCD. I didn't realize I could give appreciated stock to these charities out of my brokerage account. So your help has aided me greatly. A lot of times ignorance is not bliss.
Well, that's great.
I've been having a mighty happy time because a lot of my highly appreciated stock that I've had for a long time, it doesn't pay dividends. So when I give it away, it doesn't hurt my income one bit. It's like my brokerage account has, kind of a lot of it weighted toward dividends because I got to eat, but there's some there that's just sheer growth. Well, I don't want to sell that Apple stock that's appreciated nearly 700%. It's beautiful, but it's painful to sell,
Yes.
But I can give it, and I'm excited about that.
That is incredible. Thank you for giving that testimony. I'm so thrilled. And Sharon, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm confident there's many in our listening audience who are having the same realization you had perhaps months or years ago, and that is I'm sitting on appreciated stock. It's in a taxable account. I'm on Medicare, but I have a generous heart, and I want to bless great ministries like Preborn and buy ultrasound machines so moms choose life and choose Jesus, and they can do that without affecting it by giving it before selling it. And to your point, you didn't affect your income one bit. So good, Sharon. All right, what's your question? How can I help?
I learned these things the hard way. I need a clarification. Can I give appreciated gifts to my children in the same way, as long as I stay under the $19,000 a year? If they receive this stock from me appreciated, do they have to sell it, or can they just sit on it and choose when to sell it?
Yeah, great question. First of all, yes, you can absolutely do this, and gifting appreciated stock directly to your children generally does not trigger capital gains or IRMA because you didn't sell the stock, and so it is a gift. They will inherit the original cost basis, though, so it's transferred to them. So if they later sell the stock, they may owe taxes on the gain from the original purchase. But if they're in a lower tax bracket, that can sometimes still reduce the family's overall tax burden. But in terms of, what they can do with it, the recipient has complete flexibility to keep it, continue holding it, or sell it. And so they can do whatever they want. They certainly don't have to sell it immediately.
I have one clarifying question.
Yes.
I've got it in my heart. I'm going to give $10,000 toward each grandchild's college education.
Yes.
I want to get it out of my hands and into theirs and put it in, under the Uniform Gift to Minors Act, and it can sit there in their accounts and just grow.
Yes.
I'll have kept my word and given them what I promised them, and I'm thinking it'll just sit there and grow. Now, I've done this with one grandson, and it's going to sit there for a few months, but when he needs to use it this fall and he takes it out, of course, he'll have to pay the taxes on it. But is this correct? I've owned this stock over 10 years, so it's long-term capital gains tax for him. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I think there's
his income's under 40. I mean, his income's like $10,000 for the year. So is it correct he may not have to pay anything?
Yeah. So you are actually going to give the appreciated stock that to the kids in the amount of 10,000. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So when that goes over to the gift of appreciated stock to a UTMA, can sometimes make more sense even than a 529 because you can transfer the shares directly. With the 529, you'd not be able to do that, which would be the other college savings vehicle. It's going to avoid triggering the capital gains tax yourself and then shift the future taxation to the grandchild. The only trade-off is that with the UTMA, the stock becomes legally the grandchild's asset. They gain control at the age of majority, and so they can do what they want with it. And it can impact financial aid or will more heavily if they're going to be able to qualify for need-based aid. But if they're not, then that's not really a concern. But you just have to understand that asset of the child in the UTMA is going to be factored much more heavily into what's called the EFC, the expected family contribution, if they would have otherwise qualified for need-based financial aid. And so I think if the goal is to gift the appreciated stock efficiently, I think the UTMA is ultimately the vehicle to do it because, again, it's highly appreciated. You can get it out of your hands. And to your point, they're going to be at a much lower income bracket. Something called the kiddie tax may apply if they're minors. But you just want to check with the CPA on that. But I think you're on the right track here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, my grandson has just turned 18, and he won't qualify for any aid. His parents have worked hard, but meeting these kind of expenses are hard for middle-class families. It's tough.
Yes. Oh, well, you're exactly right. And if that's not a concern on the financial aid, then that takes that out of the situation, and it becomes much simpler. So I think your gift of appreciated stock directly actually is a very reasonable strategy. If you go over the $19,000, you are just going to have to file that gift tax return. It's not taxable to you or him. It's just going to chip away at your lifetime exclusion.
All right, one quick question also. So his income is very low, so he'll probably have to pay nothing on it. Is that correct?
Yes, and that is probably true. So if he has a low income, he may be able to sell it at the 0% long-term capital gains bracket, which means you avoid realizing the gain. He owes probably nothing in terms of federal capital gains, and therefore all of the money can be used for college, which is why that's such an effective strategy. The main caution is the kiddie tax rules. But at 18, especially if he supports himself significantly or is beyond the dependency thresholds, that's going to become less restrictive. But you probably want to check with a CPA on those kiddie tax rules. But I think your general idea is right. It could be very efficient and avoid taxes on your part and his.
Well, your help has aided me greatly. And, when I bought that a long time ago at $30-something a share, I wouldn't have dreamed it would now be $301 a share.
Wow.
And, so much good it's doing. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome, Sharon. I'm so delighted to be able to assist you. Listen, stay on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of our latest issue of our magazine, Faithful Steward. It's beautiful. It's full of some incredible articles. I think it'll be a blessing to you, and it's just my way of saying thanks for your delightful call today. Stay on the line. Well, we're about out of time today. Before we go, let me remind us why we do what we do here on this program every day. We gather for Faith and Finance Live because we recognize we all have a high calling. We're money managers for the King of Kings, which means we're to be found faithful as we manage God's resources. Faithfulness, obedience over a long period of time, applying the wisdom of God's word to every area of our lives, and that includes our finances. So thanks for being here today. We love to do what we do and serving you to be wise stewards of God's money. I want to say thanks to my team today. Couldn't do it without them. Faith and Finance Live is a partnership between Faith Fi and Moody Radio. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.